things to do in St. Augustine and how great it is if you're coming from up north and you're headed to the Bahamas or the Caribbean.
I'm gonna go through this door.
That this is the place to stop. This is the not miss place to stop.
And what's really good about St. Augustine is, besides the history, there's a little bit of something for everybody here. You can appeal to just about every age here in St. Augustine because of the love of history. And the history expands for 450 years, but there's so much about the history that even children like, especially the pirate history.
So what happens when an adrenaline junkie marries a drama queen and they travel around the world on a catamaran? Come see the places, meet the people, and enjoy the experiences that make each destination special. And learn why traveling by boat provides more than just transportation, but a path to real adventure. And adventure builds character. Or was it characters? Either way, what's the worst that can happen? Stay tuned for more at LostatSea.tv. Arr. Hello there, LostatSea.tv. We're in St. Augustine, and we're going to be doing a tour of the St. Augustine Pirate Museum. And we had the distinct pleasure today of having a conversation with Commodore William Mayhem, who will be our guide at the Pirate Museum and is the Commodore of the St. Augustine. Is it still the Swashbucklers?
Still the Swashbucklers.
The Swashbucklers, a pirate crew of sorts that entertains and does a lot of charity work here in St. Augustine. William is an expert at pirate history and some of the differences between pirate history and pirate entertainment. And we've been having a fascinating conversation. We thought you'd let you join in. So,
hi, it's a pleasure to be
say
here.
Hi.
I appreciate the opportunity to right some wrongs and straighten some things out on pirate history.
Yes, I think that I agree, although I definitely do enjoy the movies and Hollywood's renditions of pirates. Can you fill us in on some of the differences you think from real history, from the history everybody thinks they understand from film?
Let's go with the three most common ones. Walking the plank.
Walking the plank. Nobody walked the plank?
Nobody walked the plank.
Nobody?
Nobody.
Ever?
It's never. There's nowhere that you can find anywhere that anybody walked the plank. Walking the plank was started in literature back in the 1800s. Probably find it right around Peter Pan. Buried treasure. There's hardly any buried treasure ever found. There's a lot of reasons to actually agree that buried treasure was not real. One of those examples would be if pirates actually had that treasure buried somewhere, they would have had something to negotiate for their lives instead of going to the gallows. None of them had anything to negotiate with. They all went to the gallows, or they all died violent deaths. Every pirate, with very few exceptions, died while being pirates.
So the more likely historical thing will be we frittered them away on women and rum.
They did, actually. Believe it or not, pirates lived for today. They lived right for the very day. So they spent it as fast as they could steal it. Did they want to save? I'm sure many of them wanted to. Did they save? Absolutely not. And here's another fact, too. Kind of an assumptive fact, though, okay? If you allow it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
If a Navy ship captures a pirate ship, what do you think the first thing that Navy commander is going to do with that pirate ship? Aside from ordering the entire group of pirates to be slaughtered, which they most times didn't want to do because all the countries wanted pirates brought back for trial to prove they were civilized. What's the first command decision that commander of that Navy ship does when he takes over the pirate ship?
They come for Christmas.
Confiscation. Confiscates everything on the ship that the pirates have. Now the pirates are actually broke, penniless, and captured. Now they have nothing to negotiate with. If you take that as a consideration, pretty much no pirate ever actually lived to be wealthy. Or no pirate ever set it aside to be wealthy or rich. And if they actually had any buried treasure somewhere, once they were captured, don't you think they would have used it with the governors and the emissaries of all the royalty to use that as a bargaining chip for their freedom? Because the politicians, the governors, the royal family, the emissaries, they were all just as corrupt as the pirates. And they would have accepted the bribes to allow these pirates to get away. There's none of that happened. So that just kind of tells me that there might not have been a whole lot of pirate buried treasure anywhere.
I guess, honey, I guess we got to take that metal detector back. I'm not going to be using that today.
But think about it this way. The metal detector will still work because all those shipwrecks out there, those were all government ships. Those were all Spanish ships, galleons, treasure ships, British ships, supply ships. All those shipwrecks are all government ships. They weren't pirate ships. Pirate ships didn't stay out that long. They'd get whatever it was they had in hand, they'd come back and spend it. So, I mean, if you look at those little things as factual pieces of evidence, it gives you an idea that the reality of pirate buried treasure is slim and far between.
I've never realized just how much cruising life is like pirate life. I mean, think about it. We come into shore, we buy boat parts, and we spend everything we have. It's very similar.
And being a pirate was pretty much like being a modern day boat owner. Every pirate, once he got a ship, what's the first thing he did once he got his ship? He wanted to graduate to a bigger ship. Modern day boat owners, what's the first thing they do when they get a boat? They want a bigger boat. Hasn't changed much, has it?
No, I don't think so. Definitely. I feel better about flying some pirate colors off the back of Valhalla now.
Aye, and you're flying the colors of?
Calico Jack.
Aye, the most well-known pirate flag, I believe, in all the world.
So what do you think, everyone? Are you ready to visit the museum? The St. Augustine Pirate Museum is much more interesting than you might think. You might think that it's going to be something hokey or corny or just for kids, but it's really, really historical. This is the oldest city in the United States. And as long as there's been people here arriving by ship from the old world, there's been piracy. And St. Augustine has been sacked and burned, and forts have been built to protect it from being sacked and burned. So there's a lot of real pirate history here, not just movie pirate history. And I'm really looking forward to learning more. Ready to pull a battery! We're under attack! Captain Stan here at the Pirate and Treasure Museum in St. Augustine, Florida. And you're watching LostatSea.tv.
From 1565, ladies and gentlemen, to 1668, the city of St. Augustine would have problems. People would come here and attack the Spaniards of St. Augustine over and over and over again. They would lose 9 forts, hundreds of homes, and thousands of lives. Now, please, at any time I ask you a question during my tour, please do not scream the answer out. Put a hook in the air. I'll call upon you. See, like him right there. Aye. Put a hook in the air if you know the answer to this question. In that first 103 years of St. Augustine's history, ladies and gentlemen, who was it that kept coming here and attacking the city of St. Augustine and burning their homes and their forts? Hook in the air, somebody tell me. Yes, sir. Will you put a hook in the air? All right, you little man. Drake was one of them. Very good. What do you say? Pirates is the right answer. Very good. The rest of these people aren't paying attention. Let me give you a hint, ladies and gentlemen. It was a very simple answer. What kind of a museum are you in? Duh.
LostatSea.tv. Meet Calico Jack.
In fact, ladies and gentlemen, standing behind me were the 2 worst pirate attacks we ever had. These 2. Oh, these 2 right here in the case. Drake without the hat. Cyril's with the hat. Drake arrived here in 1586, 31 years after the city of St. Augustine was begun. Ladies and gentlemen, when Drake arrived here, he arrived here with 23 ships and somewhere between 23 and 2,500 pirates. Wow. He was here for approximately 8 days. At the end of the 8 days, he had managed to burn 100% of St. Augustine to the ground. Every bit of St. Augustine burnt to the ground. He burnt every home, every house, every store, every shop, the barns, the stables, the corrals, the crops, the fields, the orchards, and the worst part, sorry. Sorry, I'm sorry. I get really emotional on that part. Everything was burnt to the ground, ladies and gentlemen, and then they left, and the St. Augustinians came back from hiding in the woods with the Indians and rebuilt the city of St. Augustine. For the next 80-some years, there would be more pirate attacks. And Cyril's was the last straw. He arrives here with between 300 and 400 pirates. They attack in the dead of night. According to the stories, within the first 30 minutes of the attack, between 60 and 100 St. Augustinians were murdered in the streets of St. Augustine that night. Cyril's gave us two things here, ladies and gentlemen. He burnt the 9th fort. The 10th fort stands across the street, the Castillo de San Marcos. It has never fallen in battle, ladies and gentlemen, never. Over 300 years it stood there for every attack on St. Augustine. That's the first thing we got, ladies and gentlemen. The second thing we got was because of Cyril's threat to St. Augustine. He liked it here. He actually told him he'd probably come back here and live. Can you imagine that? When he's no longer a working and practicing pirate, he comes here to St. Augustine to live. For 103 years, the Spaniards had no problems with building forts after pirate attacks, but one pirate comes here and threatens to live here. Now they're all upset. He would come here and build a house and start a business and infiltrate the very political system of our city. That scared the Spaniards terribly. He never fulfilled that threat. But by telling everybody he would come back here and invite all of his other non-working pirate friends to come here and live with him. That started it all, ladies and gentlemen. You may not understand it, but that's when it started for Florida. In 1668, with that threat by a pirate, it would forevermore be known that Florida was a place that all old people would go to retire. Yes. I kid you not.
Bad luck to wake a man when he's sleeping.
Yes. Captain Morgan was a great pirate, but he was a privateer, ladies and gentlemen, a privateer. Can somebody tell me what a privateer is? Anybody at all? Do I see a hook in the air anywhere? Anybody? No? Where? Right there. Oh, you know what a privateer is? Go ahead. What's a privateer, sir?
A privateer is a pirate with a government sanction.
Aye, that's the perfect way to put it. A government sanction, ladies and gentlemen. He has a letter of marque, or marquis in French. That letter given to him by the king, a queen, or a monarch of a country, or a sovereignty, gives him permission to go out and pillage and plunder all the enemies of that country. Here's what most people don't understand or don't take to comprehend. All pirates were not privateers, but all privateers were pirates. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to recite a piece of poetry to you. Hoisted up the black flag, and a pirate I became. We then committed cruelties too shameful for to name. Nor sex, nor age we spared. All we caught, we slain. No mercy did we ever show. For dead men tell. There you go, you know it. Dead men tell no tales.
That's a really good one. Well, me buckos, it's high time you shoved off. So get out of my face before I keelhaul ya.
Finally, a chance to shop in the gift shop at the St. Augustine Pirate and Treasure Museum. There are all kinds of pirate books, pirate souvenirs, and other amazing treasure to take a look at. And I think we are going to look at every last piece. Avast ye landlubbers. I be Captain Stan Seagull, batter of hatches, scourge of the seas, stealer of rum. It has been far too long since I had the wind on my face and the spray of the sea. Stay tuned for more at LostatSea.tv. Arr. One thing you should never do when in St. Augustine is drink too much rum with Commodore Mayhem.
He's why the rum's always out, though.